So let's talk about some steps here, because there was several steps in this whole process. So we went back and forth for, 6 weeks, maybe a couple months?
I was going to say months, yep.
Yeah, a couple months. What was your initial plan to declutter? Because I think if I was coming into the studio, it would be very easy for me to walk in and be like, gone, 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 we're going to change this, we're going to move this. But looking at your own space, and I know that you were very calculated about this, Teresa, how did you actually perform that task? Because that's important to know.
I think I started with little things, first of all. I walked into the room and I started plucking, going, okay, what's that? Or we have too many of these, or whatever. And then it kind of got to be overwhelming to the point of like, okay, if we're going to do this, and that's when it was like, we're taking everything out. Yeah. And then okay, do we need this? Do we need this? How many albums do we need to showcase? How many things do we need to have? And that was where it was overwhelming at first by just plucking little things. And when you just pull everything out and then decide what's going back in there that's going to help you and help your client, then it kind of got easier. And then you got left with this pile of, what is this stuff? That's exactly what it was, is stuff.
I can remember seeing the Facebook Marketplace, like, I'm getting rid of this, this is gone, out.
But it really did make everything look clearer and cleaner, and in my head, type A, I walk into the room now and I can breathe, and like I can see things better than I could before. And I'm hoping that when it comes to the sales piece, that you're going to see the same thing, and that the clients are going to walk in and not be focused on all the little things on the coffee table and be like, oh wow, look at that artwork, that's really cool.
Yes.
And I have to add in, it was difficult for me, because I think part of my superpower, why I'm good at this, is because I believe in sentimentality so much that
absolutely.
I've had that portrait for, it's a sample. I've had it for 10 years. It's one of my favorites. I can't part with it. And sometimes you just need somebody, you need to
rip off the band.
It's that emotional connection.
Well, yeah, somebody else has to do it. And
Yeah, for sure. So that's the physical piece of this. And for those of you listening along, if you're moving into a new space, it's exciting, it's fun, the walls are bare, you're imagining the furniture, the colors, the art, all the things. It's an entirely different experience when you've been in a space for multiple years and you're
comfortable.
You're comfortable, yeah.
This is, because even now we're like, oh wait a minute, I was gonna go get that, but it's not there anymore, or it got moved, or it's not there at all. Even trying to remember where stuff is, it's like, oh, where did we put that, or did we even keep it? So
yeah, for sure. And it's harder to clean out first and then redo. It's like fixing a website instead of building a whole brand new one. It's a different experience entirely. And the next step of that is one that probably is one of the most difficult for people, I would assume, is choosing your images. And I'm going to speak to Nate on this one. You were very methodical about that, Nate. So can you tell everybody who's listening how you did that? Because you've been in business a long time. You quite literally have hundreds of thousands of images. Where do you even begin on that process?
Started out, we just I know I had my favorites that stick out, and it's funny going through everything. That one's now 11 years old. It feels like it was just a little while ago, but it's funny, we kind of ramped up when we got really busy 5 or 6 years ago. A lot of the things took the back burner. One of those things being, take your favorites and put them in a folder. So for 3 days, we went through folder by folder, looked at every gallery, and just tried to find what are the favorites and dumped them into one centralized folder, and then loaded them into the same sales software we would use and started picking what are the best ones. And then it became, once we had a pool of favorites, then it became what makes sense to put where throughout the studio.
Right.
But
so if anybody listening thinks that this is going to be a 2-hour process,
maybe 2 months, or 3 months.
I think if you're two type A people and you've been organized your whole life and you just know that you have all your images keyworded, I need a red image, and you can do that. They could do it in 2 hours.
People like that exist?
Yeah, I was going to say, not photographers. They're way too.
So you basically went. You drew a funnel.
Yes.
And you took this beginning of the funnel and just brought it all the way down until you got to the very favorites, and then from there came the design.
Just like calling a session, kind of. But we called a body of work down to the portfolio, down to what works where.
Yeah.
But now what's cool is not only do we have all the beautiful pieces for the wall, is now we know these are the pieces to use in our marketing campaigns. These are the pieces to use on our website. So like now it's like we kind of have go-to, so that there's going to be some cohesion, and people are going to see the same images maybe on our website as on our wall and in social media, but then it's gonna create some continuity and like, oh, that's a neat image. Oh, that's a neat image. And so it was a lot of work, but it helped us in more than just picking out wall art.
There's a lot of residual things that come from that work.
Right. So it's like creating your content and using it for multiple things. Yeah, exactly. So just out of curiosity, are you going to keep adding to that folder now?
Oh yeah. Okay. We use we'll put a plug in for Pixify, but we use a
client management service. Yeah.
And it has all the check boxes throughout the job. And now we've added at the end of a job is throw your favorites in the portfolio. And I have to check that off once it's been done. So, so we won't ever have a 3-day bender again.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out White House Custom Color on YouTube. Check out for the information below. And also don't forget to smash that subscribe button.